Everyone, welcome back to the Investor Shed podcast. I am the co-host, as always, Jeremy Kitchen, here with the lovely host, Nicholas Beveridge.
Well, good morning, everybody.
And we have a special guest today, the actual clothed and conquered woman herself, Jolie Laroux. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here, you guys.
Good.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming. You're
a
all the way.
Cozy little shed you got here.
Oh, thank you so
Love
much.
it.
This is highly convenient because I watch this show a lot, Naked and Afraid, if y'all don't know. And you're here from Coeur d'Alene.
I'm here from Coeur d'Alene. You guys have a...
So you had to travel to get here?
We don't pay travel charges, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask for some gas money.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. Dang it.
Yeah. You can, I have a charger. Car charger.
I got
I have
old
Tesla.
school.
There you go.
Okay. So this is starting off really great. Thank you so much for coming. Now, typically in this podcast, we talk heavily about real estate and business, mindset, entrepreneur stuff. I know you were just on Naked and Afraid. That's super exciting. That was just that episode just aired like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yep.
But you do have a background of being an entrepreneur. You own real estate, so you qualify to be on the show.
Yep.
Well,
Ding, ding.
yeah. Tell us what it was like. Were you a big fan of the show? Like, I know it's a fan challenge. Obviously you were, but like, how long did you apply so many times before they finally reached out to you? Like, what was that application process like?
Yeah, so I was a longtime fan of the show. I started watching since the beginning, probably 12 or 13 years ago. I don't even watch TV, and it's just one show that I would watch. But
Same.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was sick one day on the couch, and there was a marathon on, and I started watching it, and I was hooked from that day forward. But it was actually my neighbor. I had gotten her into it, and she became an ultra super fan. And so back in April 2023, I had gone through a hard time. I had a big business deal fall through. I had a falling out with my best friend, and my marriage was completely collapsing. And
Do you want to talk about the business deal or no?
oh my gosh.
We love it.
Because we love hearing from,
Oh goodness.
I'm sure you learned a few things.
Oh,
and I feel like you
absolutely.
always learn stuff in business about anytime you have a failure versus success.
Oh, absolutely. It was pretty devastating. I had worked on this project for about 6 months. I was developing my own hair extension line, essentially. And I was doing it through an already established company that puts out the hair extensions. So they were going to handle all the shipping and receiving, all the orders. So it was just going to be the designer, and it was going to have my face on it. And we had contracts in place. We got ready for the launch, and the night before the launch, one of the partners had emailed me that she made a few changes to the contract.
Okay.
Literally the night before the launch. And we had done a pre-launch, you're pre-launch. So you've done, at least 6 weeks of promoing and pumping people up for this. And so I had called her, and I had some questions about it because there was some very tricky wording in there. I didn't even have to send it to my attorney to see it. And it was through that questioning that things completely just dissolved, in the sense of finding out certain lies that they had told.
Okay.
And so anyway, it was really awful because I knew that we were going to end up in legal, and I had to launch the next day anyway.
Okay.
And
So at least you quit early.
yeah, but I had to go through with launching it, and then literally it all got handed over to attorneys, and it just disappeared. And I'd put a lot of my heart and soul into that, and I'm one of those people who I'm always looking to learn from anything, especially when you're in business. I mean, I always say you're only as successful in business as the pile of supposed failures you're standing on, and that is how it works. So I was looking for kind of where I had maybe done a misstep in that, and I just couldn't find one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was just one of those situations where it just needed to happen the way that it happened to get me to not have to go further into dealings with them. And so that was hard. I did take that really hard. And, and then my marriage was failing, and my best friend, there was a betrayal with my best friend, and it all happened literally within a week of each other. So
Okay.
I hit a major rocky point.
Within a week. Yeah.
And I went into like a dark place. And so I started doing things that challenged myself. And I started building my confidence back up just through like running a 5K or, starting a new habit, quitting all my vices. And I was feeling a lot better about myself, but I needed them to continually get harder and harder. And so I had gone into my friend's kitchen. We talk about that time in the kitchen. And I was like, I need something harder. I need something with nature. And she goes, like Naked and Afraid. And I was like, like Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
And so she really helped kind of drive that, because I am one of those people who, if I commit to something, I'm going to do it. I am not quick to commit for that reason. I kind of like to suss things out and make sure that I want to move forward with it. And so she actually is the one who reached out to a couple of the legends from the show to look into me doing some training to see if it was something, because I'm not a professional survivalist.
Okay.
I've always been outdoorsy.
So did you reached out to do training first before applied?
I even applied. I
Okay.
wanted to make sure it was something that I wanted to do. And so through that, I was able to train with two legends from the show, EJ Snyder and then Luke McLaughlin.
Okay.
They just happen to both be in North Carolina and be able to take me at the same time. So I did that. And it was really hard. Are
they training like groups of people, or is it like one-on-one?
The first one was a group training. I got the full experience. So the first one was a group training with two other guys. We all bonded really hard. And they just happened to be having like a super heat wave, the bugs, you're in the summer in the South. And we did have clothes on.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't train you.
So are you like mimicking though? Like are you
Not
surviving
really.
for a few nights?
I mean,
out, or is it just like day trades and
we
coming
were
back to the
staying
hotel?
outside. No, we were definitely suffering.
Okay. What does it cost to go through something like this?
Oh, I don't even remember.
So
it
it
was
affordable.
it wasn't it wasn't anything that wasn't extra effort for me. And so I went and trained, and then my second training with Luke was I solo camped at night, which I wanted to have that experience. And just in case, because you never know if your partner's going to tap.
Yeah.
And then with him, it was a lot more of like the primitive skill sets, learning bow drill and how to make fire, friction fires and carving tools out of bone. And I skinned a deer with a rock, very primitive stuff. And that was a whole completely different experience, which was really valuable. But at the end of it, I did stay in a hotel the night before I flew out, and I finally showered and I finally actually ate food. I ordered barbecue. Nice. And I'm sitting on the bed of the hotel naked eating my barbecue, and I just started crying, and I realized I was crying because it was over. And that's when I realized I'm like that crazy person that should go and do the show.
You're like, shit, I got to go back to my life.
Yeah, clearly I love this pressurized situation. I've always done really well under pressure, but this was a new kind of type of pressure that I was creating in my life. And so that's when I applied. Is when I got home. I applied within a few days of getting home.
Okay. So now, were your kids old enough to leave at home, or did you have to arrange sitters and stuff, or was your ex able to kind of take care of them?
Yeah. So I have traveled for work for many years. Since my kids were 5 and 7, I've been traveling for work a lot. And so they're used to me being gone. So that part was easy.
Yeah.
At the time, my now ex-husband and I were separated, but the kids didn't know. We were living in separate parts of the house, and we had decided that we would just continue that until after I did the challenge. We didn't know how long that was going to take or anything. And it ended up being almost a full year of living that way.
Got it.
Was your ex-husband, sorry to ask, was he supportive of you doing the competition?
I think he was supportive in the sense that he allowed it to happen.
Right. Okay.
But I wouldn't say there was any support beyond that.
You've never been divorced before, have you?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
My wife's pretty cool, and I plan on
That's awesome.
I've been divorced. I understand. There's not a whole lot of group meetings.
It could have been a lot worse.
I know that, but I was just saying, you're going to do this huge competition, which clearly spoke to you, right?
Yes.
And he was able to at least show up for the kids, and that was, I don't know, that seems like a kind of win to me.
Mike and I have an amazing co-parenting relationship.
Good.
Even through our separation, the hardest parts of divorce, when the reality of it is settling in, and that can be really hard on one or both people. We have always stayed very united and committed to our children and what's best for our children, and even going forward, we've been able to do that. And I'm so grateful for that.
Good.
So
I love that. Next thing you did mention you were eating barbecue on the bed naked. That's my typical Monday night, by the way. There's nothing special about that. I don't do it because I'm going through a survivalist competition. I'm just sad and depressed. So, barbecue helps.
Now, were you doing that like in anticipation of like visioning being on the show, or is that like a normal Monday night for you? Or...
No, it's just a romantic moment in my story that just happened naturally. I hadn't showered in 8 days. I had just gotten out of the shower. The Uber had just delivered it.
You were just showered. That makes sense.
I like being naked.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That's fitting for the show.
Which is a super,
that checks out.
It's a superpower going into the show because most people, that is really hard for them to get over. And I never had any issues with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things that like I fantasize about being on this show, but the idea of being naked the whole time just creeps me out. Yeah. Like, I don't even like looking at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Nick and I were going to get naked for this podcast, but we decided not to do it just to make you more comfortable.
Because we don't have good satchels. We don't have good satchels.
I'm used to being around naked men that I don't know that well, actually.
Me
now
too.
I can add that to my
Okay.
I've been through a lot of strange things in my life, but that's
Right on.
definitely something I can add.
Well, that's something we all have in common.
But I will say my partner was really nervous. I mean, he was so nervous. You can see in the intro.
Yeah, he was
how
sweating.
much they don't even show. I mean, he really could barely get the sweat out of his eyes to be able to have a conversation.
So you think some of that was nerves, not just the
definitely.
heat? Because I noticed you weren't sweating as bad or like, hey, give me that water. He was like, I just need to drink constantly.
He may or may not have come into the challenge in a bit of a deficit, and that's all I'm going to say. But he was also very nervous, and
was that so that he can look better when he takes his clothes off? Because when you're dehydrated, you look more fit.
Shrinks you.
I don't know what drives the things Bill does, but I do know
in the intro. He says clearly what his intentions are. He wants a 6-pack from this show, so that he could put it on his Tinder profile or whatever it was. Remember that?
There's easier ways.
I was not there when
those were his intentions.
I know, it's interesting because
everyone has different intentions going.
I filmed this a year before you guys all saw it.
Yeah.
And so
this is a year ago.
A full year. I was in the challenge this time a year ago.
Wow.
I was towards the end of it. And so there's a couple of interesting things. You have the actual experience of going and doing the challenge.
Yeah.
And then you have this whole secondary experience of it being on TV and me being on TV and then all my loved ones watching me on TV. And so that has been like a whole secondary experience because when I came back from the challenge, I was coming back to telling my children I'm getting divorced, figuring out housing. I had a lot going on. And so the people closest to me and around in my life saw me going through a lot of growth and changes.
Yeah.
But they only saw that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So now they've watched the episode and they're like, oh my God, I didn't actually know what you went through.
Yeah.
So
are you not allowed to talk about it, or did you just choose to not talk about it?
Talk about what?
You're like on the
No, I did. I couldn't talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't allowed to talk about your experience.
No.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's been this whole a year later, my friends are now catching up to some of the crazy stuff that I experienced out there. And it's very interesting. I still am getting text messages every day, like finally watching your episode. Oh my God. The reaction is very extreme.
Well, it's not a typical, 80% of these episodes I feel like are the same.
Yes.
This was one of the unique ones that I think is going to be more popular than the rest because it was just like a comedy show.
I want to say I am so proud of my episode. As somebody who came in as a fan of the show, has watched all the episodes, when they told me we were getting a 2-hour special, I was like, they've never done that historically. In the entire time of the show, they've never done a 14-day 2-hour. They've done 2-hour episodes. They've never done one for a 14-day.
It was so good. I had no idea it was 2 hours.
That I've been told that. Now, if you watched it without commercials, it's about 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Nice.
But
okay.
So that might be why.
Yeah, we have Discovery Plus,
right,
just for Naked and Afraid.
But as far as like a marketable thing to be given that 2 hours, when I first found out, I was like, okay, because I wasn't sure. I knew we had accomplished a lot of stuff, or I had accomplished a lot of stuff, and I wanted to make sure it made the episode. You never know with your edit.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who have done the challenge now as I've started to be part of the community. And I know majority of the time you are not happy with your edit. And so when I knew that they were giving us 2 hours, I was pretty excited about that, while also not sure if they were just going to focus on the drama between Bill and I, because there was a lot of drama. There's a lot of drama that didn't even make it to the episode.
I would imagine. Actually, you know what? Like I watched it twice. I didn't really see a whole lot of drama between you guys. I just saw ridiculous behavior, and you're just like trying to push through it.
Yeah,
like there was only a couple of little fights, or maybe one.
And there were a couple more that didn't make it. That I just, I finally went on Reddit. People were telling me, you got to go see what's going on Reddit. And I know a lot of people felt like I didn't stand up for myself enough. And I just want to say, trust me, I stood up for myself enough. But, when you're dealing with a personality like Bill, there is no fighting, because you cannot get him to change his viewpoint. He does not see things logically. He sees things the way Bill sees it. And so because of my, experience just with humans, I have a lot of experience with dealing with human beings. I knew that I had to take a different approach with him. And that's where you see me, no matter what, I'm always trying to empathize with him and encourage him. And like, I was watching a person kind of go into shutdown mode, if we're honest. And so me adding to that didn't help. And so we would have these flare-ups where I would hold my ground with certain things, and then an hour later, it's like it never happened, because we have to survive. And
you have so many other, like, better priorities, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the fight they show with the water and like him not rationing the water. And I did make that 3-mile hike twice that day that fight took place.
Oh, you did it twice?
I walked it twice.
I think they only showed it once.
No, I know. And that's the thing you don't know, is I did end up walking a second time because he was not leaving water for me. And that was the moment I knew this guy might compromise my challenge, because my back's against a wall, because we do need water. I'm the one who moved us down here.
But he's drinking it all.
And he's drinking it all. And he does not see the logic in helping to ration, so I don't have to keep doing this. And that was a big moment in the challenge for me, because we did consider actually splitting.
Oh, wow.
Which is impossible to do, because you have one fire starter, you have one pot.
Yeah.
You have one cutting tool. And for him to go, 1.5 miles up the trail to go sit by that puddle,
and knowing him, he'd probably want it all.
It just wouldn't have worked. And so it was a little worrisome that he was going to cost me the challenge. And so to be able to adapt to make that not happen, I mean, you guys saw what happened. It was amazing.
Yeah. So, well, for the listeners and viewers that actually haven't seen the show yet, and they stumbled upon this because they're expecting real estate. Let me just, if I can give a 1-minute broad overview of the actual show, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how the show went down. You guys both show up. You're in the Philippines on an island. You hike from the beach, 1.5 miles or so inland, find water. You got a spot set up. You guys built. Oh, you brought the map.
Here we got the water here. This is where we entered, and you can see how far up those pools of water were.
Okay.
And right away,
so cool.
I mean, at first, you guys seem like you're getting along, because almost everybody gets along right away. And he's just sweating his ass off. This guy's a little bit younger than you, mid to late 30s, I think. And you're in your a quick commercial break here. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you want to give back, let me help you buy a house, or I can help you sell a house. It's the only way I make money when I'm not investing in real estate. I don't make money on this podcast or the events I do, but I do make money only when I help people buy and sell houses. So if you're looking for your next investment and you're here in North Idaho, I want to help you personally. If you are not in North Idaho, I can still help you out. I have a vast network of referral partners all across the country, and I can find the right real estate investor savvy agent for you, so you don't have to. It doesn't cost you a thing. Thank you for your support. Back to the show. Mid-40s. And he's clearly sweating like crazy. And immediately, you guys are putting together shelter, which is like this bed that keeps falling apart. It's a horrible bed.
Yes.
No offense.
No, I didn't build it.
Yeah, I know. But you were doing everything else. You had to keep making this guy water, because he was going to fall over and die if he didn't have more water. And you're just constantly, to make a fire, get him water, get him water, get him water. And he had to sit there and drink, or else he was going to pass out, which is, he's just not used to that heat, and there's great excuses there. It's not like he probably felt like he didn't have much control there. Who knows?
Right.
But it just went on for the rest of the, next 10 days or whatever, where you just had to take care of this person and constantly bring him water. And we just didn't really see him work on anything but the bed. And we're curious, how much did he actually do? Because the episode, just the way they edited it, shows him basically doing nothing but constantly drinking water as you do everything else.
Yeah. And
then he didn't he didn't seem very appreciative anytime he brought home food.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Which just was mind boggling. I'm like, no wonder you're single. Like, as someone who's married, like, you say thank you and show your appreciation, even if you don't feel like it.
You also hold.
You bring all these coconuts. You bring him fish, and he's like, "Oh, cool." There and who knows if they're editing out like, "Oh my God, you're awesome. This is great."
And this is where it is. Like, I got a true to edit. Like, I mean, the majority of that storyline was absolutely true. They couldn't show him being appreciative because he just wasn't. And one time I had hiked up and gotten 9 fish, and I came back and I walk up and I'm like, I got 9 fish. And he goes, oh, I wanted shrimp. I mean, that was Bill. And, I'm not here to just disparage. I'm just here to tell the truth. This is the truth.
Yeah.
He did not have the ability to be excited. And so this is one confrontation I wish they had showed, because I actually that day I said to him, I said, why can't you be happy for me?
Yeah.
Why can't you celebrate with me? Because as a fan of the show, any type of food is a win.
Yeah.
And you celebrate it. Like, this is, you've watched the show, this is kind of almost like
everyone gets
etiquette.
excited.
This is etiquette.
And this is
even if they're in a bad mood, like everyone gets excited. They high five. Your best friends again.
Wants kind of go out the window when you're in a survival situation. And I could be wrong there, but like, if you brought me leaves that were edible, I'd be like, oh my God, you're a goddess. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, 9 fish was a substantial win. And his thing was, well, you made fire the first day and we celebrated. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, we don't have to celebrate every time you have a win. He felt like we celebrated. But that was Bill. Bill stands by this. I've asked Bill, do you feel like you regret anything or would change anything? And Bill's only regret is that he let me win moving to the beach. To this day, he still feels that way.
Oh, he didn't like that.
No, he feels we should have stayed and miserably sat by that puddle.
But you couldn't sleep.
He didn't care.
Yeah, that was
He
one
makes
thing.
that
Like,
known
he
on
and
the
he
episode.
did make that known, which was wild.
That's no secret.
That he would actually say that. Like, he just didn't care that you weren't getting sleep. He was.
He says he was
and he
upset that he made my unnecessary needs more important than his necessary needs. That's a quote.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Wow.
Because we had the captions on. I'm like, what?
But that
And
is how it was.
Yeah.
There's no I mean, that really was the dynamic with us.
Wild. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question here because I unfortunately don't watch the show. I don't watch a lot of TV. Nothing against it. I've seen all the clips and it looks super cool. I'm actually going to probably rent it or buy it tonight and watch it with my wife. It sounds.
Just log into our Discovery Plus.
Thanks. Let's talk about piracy on air. We'll do it off air, Nick.
It's not piracy. We pay for it.
No, we pay for it. No, I guess the question I'm asking. So obviously you guys are out in the wilderness. You're out in where was it at again? Philippines. Okay.
Right here.
Philippines. Right there. Yeah, the map says it all.
How do you pronounce the beach? It was like
Palawan.
Palawan, but
Palawan.
wasn't it like a Panakin?
Palawan Islands.
Palawan. Okay.
So the question I ask is obviously it's you and your partner out in the wild. Obviously there's a film crew with you. The film crew can't like help you or like be like, hey, there's food over there or anything like that. They're just kind of silent mutes at that point, or how does that work? Do you guys interact with them?
They're there to be documentarians.
Gotcha.
They're there to document, and that's about it. You're not supposed to interact with them.
Right.
Although,
Do they communicate with you at all?
yeah, I mean, there is communication with us for sure, but you're not supposed to be like hanging out chatting with them.
Right.
Okay. They're like, okay, we're going to leave for the day.
Which
Keep the
made it
cameras
very
going.
lonely, because Bill wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time alone in the challenge.
And I was going to say, like, do they like stay behind the cameras? They're eating like a Big Mac or something like that? No.
They're very respectful. They take lunch breaks. They even drink water away from us, everything. Yeah, they're amazing. I found it really cool that, like, you watch the show. And so then, like, you wake up in this dream state of like being in the show. I'm like in it, which the first night was very sobering.
Yeah.
But also you never see the other side. And so it was just really interesting. Sometimes I would have this awareness of like seeing them go through their own experience, because even though they have shoes and clothes and everything on, they're suffering to some extent as well. They're also having an experience, although they do leave at night. They leave at sunset and they come at sunrise. You are 100% alone at night besides one medic in the area. And you have a radio in case you need it. But if something happens in the middle of the night, you are, you're kind of stuck. So it is a little bit, the first night was the scariest.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us about that. Because you got, what, 5 minutes of sleep maybe?
No, I did not. I don't even think I got 5 minutes of sleep because that first night he didn't have the platform finished. And the sun goes down and we are literally near the only freshwater in the entire island. And so you can imagine who's coming to those clean freshwater pools at night. Like, the
so you're hearing
sounds,
animals and stuff.
monkeys, mongoose. They caught a mongoose and a cobra fighting each other on a trail cam 10 feet from where we were sleeping. It was another reason that I didn't want to be there. It was dangerous. And it was so loud. And I'm just like laying on this shoddy platform
with huge gaps.
And we're talking like it's sundown to sun up. Yeah. You don't have any light. It is pitch dark besides, the night vision on your camera. And it's 12 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
You're literally sitting there like, what am I doing?
Yeah. And this
what am I doing? Why am I here?
This quote unquote, this bed that you're on.
Oh my God.
Like from the show, it looks like it's just a few sticks here and there. Like you have to balance you have to be balanced the whole time.
Every time
just to
Bill
be on.
would move, I was like this. And Bill moved a lot. Like every time he would move, I'd be like almost asleep and he would move and I'd get jumped up. So there was no sleeping on that bed, like ever. Not with the improvements. By the what they don't show is when we finally go to the beach, it had actually collapsed in a rubble.
Okay.
It had completely collapsed in the middle of the night. And we spent that whole rest of the night. He did sleep on the ground. I tried to sleep on the rubble. I mean, it was...
Oh, yeah. They didn't show that.
No, it was so awful, you guys. When I say I didn't sleep, I mean, I really didn't sleep. It was torturous.
So what was the problem? Like, could you get enough sticks there for it to stay in place? Or was it just... what was the problem with this bed?
Yeah. So the problem just even with that area in general was the creek bed was so rocky. And then there was inclines on both sides of the creek bed. And so the dense jungle. And so cutting down an area for us to create like a sheltered area, you still had all the stumps in the ground. You have a machete. I mean, you're just chopping. You can only chop. So there's no way to sleep on the ground. It is just so uneven with stumps
just rocks
and such.
And stuff,
And so then there was bamboo, which is a fantastic resource, but the bamboo was like this thick around.
Yeah.
And you guys see where it takes
You're trying to cut.
That took me 30 minutes, that scene that they show where I'm cutting down that big piece of bamboo.
Yeah.
And then you've got this long piece of bamboo and then you have to cut it into
Was
smaller
that the
pieces,
one where you were trying to pull it over?
Yes.
And you didn't get much
He was
help?
just drinking his water.
And he's like, don't overdo it instead of helping you, like, drag it over.
Yeah. So
did you get to use that piece on the bed?
No, I actually ended up...
I think I noticed that.
That was
wasn't even used.
Very heavy. And the bamboo was so heavy. And that's why when I say I'm carrying 50 pounds, majority of the weight I was carrying when I was carrying the water, those 3 mile or a mile and a half, is the weight of the bamboo canisters.
Right, yeah.
That's what made it so... I thought my bag was going to rip.
Yeah, because when you said 50 pounds, I'm like, that sounds like enough water for the day, but I didn't consider, it's all the equipment just to carry the water.
It was maybe 2 pots of water.
Yeah.
That was what was so crazy.
Wild.
Yeah.
So how many people are on this film crew on an average day, like surrounding you guys?
5 to 7.
5 to 7? Okay.
Yeah, and they trade out.
Okay. Are they mostly camera people or are there people like watching and like directing?
You have main camera, assistant camera, sound, producer, assistant producer, and then sometimes you have like a local expert there.
Okay. Are they also just like setting up cameras randomly all over the place? Okay. And like changing out film or whatever?
Yep. They're working all the time. They work so hard.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So can we go back a little bit
Sure.
to the application process?
Sure.
What was it like applying? Like, how did you apply? And how long did it take to get a response and then interviews and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I applied on August 4th of 2023, and I heard back from I applied through Meadow Flowers Media is the way to apply for this particular show. They handle all the casting, and I heard back from casting in October,
a couple months later.
October. And then casting was many processes. You do a phone interview, then a video interview, and then after casting is certain about you, they pass you off to the producers of the show, and you have a whole other recorded interview process with them. And then, so then you're through I was through casting by like the end of the year, and then you go into wait mode, which there's a lot of waiting involved with this show.
What do you mean when you got through casting, like you got approved?
Yeah, but they don't tell you for sure, because once they figure out, okay, this person might be good for the show, then they have to get structurally to work like, okay, we need this person to match with this. They're trying to create
that makes sense.
the duos, and they're trying to do all their planning and stuff. I don't know. I'm not there when they're doing it. I know a little bit about production because I've worked in TV and film a little bit.
Nice.
What are the odds of getting accepted? Do you have any idea?
It's all over the place. When I went to go try, somebody had said, oh, it's really hard to get on. There's like 30,000 applicants a year. But then when you start to talk to people, and, Bill applied one drunken night. He did it when he was drunk one night and applied and got on. And I know another person who applied because he got dared to do it and got on. So I don't actually know, because I think there's probably people apply that as casting, and they, this is what they do for a living. They're, it's kind of like I've never done a dating app, but like the swipe, the swipe, right?
You're not missing much.
Right. I just assume it's kind of like that, like, they won't, nah. But then maybe you get like a pool of like, they might be interesting. I think you just kind of like have the it thing, or you don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
But for this show in particular, it is interesting, some of the people who get on.
Right.
Sure is.
And that's what I was going to talk about. So like real quick, obviously you get paired with a partner. Do you think the network specifically pairs you with a partner that there is going to be tension with? Like if he was going through his application process and Bill was like, I just want to sit and drink water all day. And then they're like, we've got a perfect partner for you.
Yeah, someone that can.
Jeremy, I get asked this all the time.
Okay.
And so I'm glad you asked this question. I have been told they do not do that on purpose.
Gotcha.
And that I was told this actually, I think before I even went in, but that they don't do this on purpose, that the challenge itself actually takes care of all of that. And having done it, I will say, it does kind of, because I've been asked so many times, like, how did Bill get on the show? How did Bill get on the show? But having experienced Bill on day one and like over 14 days, I genuinely think Bill didn't know Bill was going to behave the way he did. You are put into your most vulnerable place.
Yeah.
And if you are somebody who is not self-aware or wants to have to be self-aware about yourself, this is going to bring out all sorts of sides to you that you don't know.
Yeah.
I am a seeker. So like I literally went into the challenge to figure out who Jolie was on the other side of this type of suffering. And so I was looking for that.
For sure.
And it was interesting to get to know myself through that. Whereas like maybe like a Bill personality more like, oh shit, I feel vulnerable.
Right.
I'm going to put on all the masks that I can. And that's what I believe I witnessed. So I don't think that you even have to do it. I mean, this is such a unique experience. This is why I love Naked and Afraid. There's nothing like it that exists.
Yeah.
And I look at it as like an extreme sport. You do not do it for the money. You do not do it for like some sort of fame. You do it for putting yourself into a compromising situation and seeing if you can endure it. And there's a certain type of personality that is going to step up for that and want to do it. Most people are like, I would never. And I understand.
Yeah. Like to be honest, like that doesn't speak to me at all, and that's okay. But like, just watching these things and hearing these stories, like I think what you're saying is your true self really kind of gets revealed on these shows. Is that correct? Like someone who's going to either be fight or flight is going to be like, that's going to happen on the show because you are put to the extreme.
Yeah, I don't see how you can be put in this situation and not have to face yourself in a mirror in some way, or go into extreme avoidance of what you're seeing in that mirror, fight or flight, or just complete shutdown, complete avoidance. It's very unique because it bonds you with anybody else who's done it instantly. I have met a lot of people who are part of this community now, and it's almost like we're old friends from the get. Like the second we meet, it's just like, you just understand something that only people who have gone through it can understand.
Yeah. So I'm curious about something, going back to the show. There was a part of the show where you decide you're not going to be hiking anymore to get water for Bill. You've got to dig a well. Why didn't Bill help dig that well?
He did.
He did.
And so more on the well. So I also want to say I never moved down to the beach without the plan of digging a well. That was always my plan. There was a lot of briny mud at the bottom near the ocean, and we knew there was fresh water at the top. And so I just was using my logic that digging a well was possible. So that was always part of my plan. But I was the one who had to figure out the water, where to dig and everything. And I have never done that before. I mean, to be able to say that I did that, I'm actually really quite proud of it. Once I hit water, I called Bill in. I made him dig that.
Okay. All right, cool.
I will say he did a fantastic
That's
job.
awesome. They didn't show that.
No, they didn't. But
That's fine. So he did something else, not just build the bed.
Yeah, I mean,
He also finished digging the well.
Yeah.
And then help with the bees.
I wanted him to feel like he was doing something too. Like, I'm not going to say like I made him dig that well, but I was always trying to involve Bill in those things, as well as I found the water. Like, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Yeah. After you guys got water, did the drama completely just pretty much stop after that, or get way toned down, or was there more drama that they just decided to leave out?
Well, I will say, like I say in the episode, he became a lot more calm, which was easier for me to deal with. So I would say there was still drama. I mean, because me catching of the fish and all that, and the confrontation about him not celebrating my wins happened after that. But a lot of it was literally just me kind of getting by and not picking fights with Bill. Yeah. But the last day we were there, I called him a psychopath to his face. So just to give you context.
Probably accurate. Yeah. Yeah,
I was
pretty
mad
amazing.
that didn't make the edit. I was like, dang it. No.
So regardless of everything you went through, do you feel like, in a way, like, I'm kind of glad it played out this way, and I'm kind of glad I had a Bill because of all these interesting challenges I had to overcome? And then you have all these witnesses out there. The whole world got to see, oh, you just did everything. Like, are you secretly like kind of glad you got a piece of shit partner?
No, I am not secret about this at all. I'm very, very open about it. In fact, I made an entire post about it on my social media on Instagram and Facebook about, basically that, like, I'm not going to always like Bill, but I will always love Bill. Yeah. Bill allowed me to live out my Naked and Afraid fan challenge fantasy, to be able to go into a 14-day challenge as a newbie to all of this, and to catch all the food, dig a well, take down a beehive, build a raft. By the way, every single vine that tied onto that raft, I did myself. I went into the jungle. I got all of the vines. I tied every lashing of that raft.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So proud of that raft. So to be able to do all those things, I owe that to Bill being Bill.
Right. Yeah. Because can you imagine? Have you thought about it in your head? Like, if I just got like another partner that was amazing, this show wouldn't be the same. And I wouldn't be the star.
You wouldn't have gotten
probably. You wouldn't have got the same experience.
I always
and
say
maybe just be thrown under the rug as another episode.
Absolutely. And I got the partner I was supposed to have. And I said that even when I came back, when I was telling people, I was like, I did tell people, like that my inner circle that didn't know I went, I had a really difficult partner, but I got the partner that I needed. in so many ways, because yes, I got to live out these Naked and Afraid challenge fantasies, and I get to be the star of that episode, and the fans absolutely loved it, but on a personal level too.
Yeah.
You know, I had to face a lot of stuff about myself, and, you know, dealing with him and how to do that. And, you know, there was a lot of growth that happened on a personal level because Bill was Bill. So I have no regrets. I am so grateful that he kind of unfortunately has taken a lot of heat
Sure.
for me to be able to shine. But hopefully, you know, the fans are really wanting to see me back. And so because I had this episode, you know, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to perform and do it again.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up kind of to this. So obviously you survived for 14 days, right? What's the first meal you ate when you actually got to eat real food again that wasn't like jungle food?
Yeah, so they actually let you pick what your first meal was, and mine was steak, fries, and shrimp, funny enough. It's so weird. I was somebody who would eat shrimp before the challenge. I never was like shrimp obsessed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
usually when you eat certain foods in the challenge, you never want to eat them again.
Yeah.
That first day, those shrimp that I caught, they were
Yeah.
so fresh. I have had this weird shrimp craving since. And but I didn't eat much. I ate just a few bites of food, and so you really do kind of have to acclimate your body back to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I was surprised how low the calories were showing on the screen. It said like 12 calories per shrimp or something like that. Does that sound right?
Oh, I mean, I would say that we survived on less than 50 calories a day when you like over the whole challenge spread it out. I mean, a lot of days we had no food. And when people ask me what was the hardest part of the challenge, I always say, besides Bill, it was hunger.
Yeah.
And I was shocked by that. I thought I've done fasting before, and I thought for sure by the first week I wouldn't be hungry anymore. And I was still hungry all the way up until the end.
Most people complain about hunger on this show all the time, but either they edited that out or like I didn't hear you complain much about the hunger.
I do say it right before we find the beehive. I'm like, I'm hungry. And then I go, I'm hungry every day.
Yeah, but like usually you watch these shows and
Right.
it's like every 5 minutes they're just complaining about hunger.
Yeah.
It was like, it seemed like this episode was really dialed down because first off, like Bill's just full on water.
Yeah.
And that probably curbs his appetite a little bit.
Well, they can only
And he's prepared.
show so much, right?
Yeah.
I'm also glad like they did show a little bit of my personality. Like I have a couple like really funny like one-liners, you know, like I posted on my social media like when the bee stings, he pulls it out of my eye and I'm all battle scar.
Yeah.
And then when we're like getting ready to go in extraction, I'm like, you know, I'm just like these dangly legs at the top of the water, you know, certain death. So you know, I think of myself as kind of funny, and I was glad that I got to show a little bit of that on there because it is so serious so much of the time.
Yeah.
And I did try to bring some like levity to the situation by trying to have a good sense of humor around even like the most painful, awkward, or uncomfortable days.
Yeah. So what was it like? When did you find out that you got accepted for sure? It was in October. It was a couple months after you applied. And then what was it like?
Well,
from
you don't
there?
know till you're going, and I got.
Oh, you don't know until you're going.
They could still pull out at any time, and that's what's so hard because you're just like
Do they tell
trying
you
to
to prep?
organize
Like,
your whole life.
are you
around
eating
it.
butter before you go and stuff? Like, are you trying to like eat fattier foods
Yeah.
to like last longer?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a bit of a biohacking health nut person, and so I knew if I was going to put weight on, I was going to still eat the way I was going to eat, but I wanted to do it in a healthy way. So it's funny you mentioned butter because that is exactly what I did to prepare for the challenge. Is, you know, my bulletproof coffee had like half a stick of butter in it.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
I was eating at least a stick of butter a day, if not more.
Okay, that's a lot.
And then I
How many
added
calories is in a
I
stick of
added-
butter?
I don't know, but it's super fattening.
It's funny if you tell that to anybody else. Like, if I'm not doing a survival challenge, and if I tell people I eat a stick of butter a day, they are going to think I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
Especially if they know you.
Yeah, I just casually eat a stick of butter for my.
It's a
morning
good
breakfast, right?
intro, but yeah, because you do want to have some fat stores. I only lost 7 pounds on my challenge, which was a little surprising. I
Yeah,
thought the
that was
scale
shocking.
Yeah, I thought I thought the scale was broken, but then he lost.
Were you like hoping to lose more or something?
You know, I think I lost a good amount, but I felt like I lost so much weight. I felt myself kind of wasting away.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as much as I had thought. But you know, these things, who knows? I'm very muscular. I work out a lot and I
Yeah,
train.
Yeah, you work out with my wife at F45.
Yes.
Do you go to other gyms as well, or is that
Right
the main
now,
one?
I'm just at F45, but I really want to start the plyometric and why can't I think of the word? I want to start the training at the new CrossFit gym that just opened downtown because I want to learn handstands and lever. I want to get into that.
Okay,
I need to be challenged, obviously.
Yeah, you need more do Ironman. There's only a half Ironman this year. You could do it. You got 3 months.
I've had people ask me about Ironman. I'm not a bad swimmer, but the swimming intimidates me a little bit with it. But who knows? It's interesting you bring that up because when I came back, I was like, what do I do next for the next high? Because as you know, I went for the reason I was like elevating these challenges. And after I did it, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't climb a mountain. It's not going to give me the same high as this very extended and suspended suffering that I got, you know, to the end of. And so that has been hard.
The Ironman, like I just do the half Ironmans. The full Ironman I tried once and I failed. They kicked me off. I didn't do the biking fast enough, but I'm not like a extreme triathlete or anything, but I do like doing the half Ironmans here in Coeur d'Alene just because when you finish, you do have such a high when you're done, like crossing the finish line, and it's like just a day of, you know, 5,000 calories burnt or whatever. And it's very doable. Like you don't have to be an extreme athlete. There's, but that's a great challenge and it's here locally.
Yeah. I need to look into more things that create extended periods of suffering for me. Right now, I think like just entering the dating pool is,
is it, how's that go?
No suggestions there.
Well, how do you date now that I've been on the show? Really? I mean, I've never done a dating app, but I feel like I couldn't now because you put that up there. And, you know, I'm not somebody who needs like the validation of like 1,000 dudes in my DMs that want to take out the girl on TV. Right. So it has kind of created, I think, a little bit of a
most guys are like, oh, she's from Naked and Afraid. Most guys probably aren't. Like, they don't recognize you from that right away, right?
No, but I think once they find out, you know, and so it's like either they're going to be intimidated, which has happened, or they're going to, you know, my DMs are full with fans of the show right now, and they're very sweet messages. I've gotten emails and all of those things, but like, how do you use discernment when somebody is seeing the show and wanting, you know what I mean, to make contact?
Maybe stay away from online dating.
Well, that's the thing. I'm going to have to, you know, meet in the wild.
Right. I mean, like, don't take this as legal counsel, of course, but I would start with your network. Like, you know, ask around, like, hey, do you guys know any guys who are super cool? And kind of just start going from that area. But get a referral.
I'm in no rush. But I definitely, there are some people who have shown interest. I'm just currently hanging, but it is from my friends who are in the dating world. It is something that, like, you know, I can make the comparison of the suffering and confusion and all of that when you're in your mid 40s.
Well, if you want, Nick and I are actually very good at vetting people on Tinder.
We did this for Joe.
We did this for Joe, and we got kicked off Tinder.
We got her kicked off Tinder.
Okay, well, I'll just run any potential through you guys.
No problem. Heavy vetting.
Yeah, we're good at that.
So obviously you're trying to you're thinking about maybe getting back on the show. What else is next for you?
Oh my gosh. I have been doing a lot. Well, I've been doing this for 15 years, but I've really upped a lot of like my women's empowerment that I do. I do public speaking. I've been writing a book. My book is kind of finished, but then I feel like I have all this new stuff happening. Yeah. So then I'm like, oh, maybe it's not finished.
That's another book.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, do I make two separate? I'm kind of at this point right now, actually, where I'm trying to figure it out. I have like a personal development workbook that I've created. So I've got a lot of things in the hopper. Cool. And I'm just allowing, so I've been a hustler my entire life, been an entrepreneur. It's always been like create the opportunities, right? And something switched in me after the challenge where I just realized like, I just need to work on being in my best possible place in all areas of my life. Yeah. And allowing the opportunities to kind of come to me and switching it up and seeing how that goes. And it's been really interesting how that has shifted in my life. So I'm kind of experimenting with that right now, and all sorts of fun opportunities are happening.
Cool.
Some I can't talk about right now, but there is a lot of exciting stuff coming the rest of this year and all of next year. So
I love it.
stay posted.
So what's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your main business right now that you're
Make money from?
make money from, pay the bills?
Yeah,
You know,
so
what's paying the bills?
I still, by trade, do hair.
Okay.
And I travel out of state to do it. And I do hair here in Coeur d'Alene as well. And that's how I pay my bills. I'm currently in the middle of my studio that I have here. I'm actually going to be making that into an Airbnb because I'm right downtown.
Nice.
And so I'm going to be getting into the Airbnb market
Right on.
very soon here.
Have you done that before?
No, but I
Oh.
have lots of friends that have.
Yeah. We've done it a few times.
Oh, well, that's great. I can never have too much advice with this, but
Yeah.
it's just silly not to do it with the location of my house. And I have a saltwater hot tub. I've got a fireplace. I have a water feature. They can have the whole back part. So
Gotcha.
I'm like,
So
let's do this.
did you get the house in the divorce?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I have
Yeah.
to pay him out, but
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, we're working that out.
You could make your Airbnb naked and afraid themed. So you put a bunch of beehives back there, a little bit of bamboo, and just make it like a little obstacle course for them.
Naked and Afraid experience. I mean, it might sell. You might be onto something.
You got to
here,
theme.
man.
You
I'm
got to
saying over
theme
that.
something.
Yeah, that's true. Until you said that, I didn't even think about the fact that I could maybe capitalize on the fact that I've been on a TV show
Right.
to market my Airbnb. That's
a great
interesting.
idea.
To do if they wanted to do we call them campfire chats because people do have so many questions about this show. And so a lot of people who have been on the show, they organize these campfire chats where people can ask questions. So who knows?
That's cool.
Yeah. Other than food, what else were you excited to come back to back to your hotel or whatever in the Philippines when you finished the challenge?
I'm always very, very honest about this question. And my cell phone.
Yeah.
Your cell phone?
I
Okay.
really
Oh, you just wanted to check.
I wanted to connect.
I didn't even, you know what? I never even think about that.
Well, I had
For 2 weeks away from a cell phone.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very honest about people are like, what did you miss the most? And I'm like, my cell phone, if I'm really honest, because in the beginning, it took me 3 full days where I wasn't, because I like to take pictures and I would go to grab, because I'd be like, oh, I need to document this. I need to because I document, I do a lot of content
Other
on
people are doing that.
Instagram and stuff. Yeah, but it was weird, the sensation of oh, wait, I don't have my phone in this satchel. And it took me 3 days to realize that I really didn't have my phone. And I'm a social being. I didn't get to talk very much over the 14 days because Bill didn't really want to have much conversation with me. So I was craving those kind of connections that really fill me up. So yeah, my cell phone.
Cell phone. Okay. What on your cell phone did you miss the most? Was it like Instagram or YouTube or
First
or
and foremost, calling
text
people.
messages?
Yeah,
Okay.
calling and text messaging. Connections
Okay.
with people who were waiting to hear from me.
Gotcha. Okay. So
and
some
to
people
let them
actually
know,
did know what you were doing.
There has to be people that kind of to make it all work, right? It's quite an undertaking to disappear for 14 days when you run a business. And I have a lot of clientele and a lot of that stuff. So yeah, there's your inner circle that knows that you're going, and they all were waiting for that phone call or text.
Yeah. Dude, when I'm away from my phone for a day when we're in Mexico or something like that, and then the next day I'll open it and I'll have 40 mixed text messages and voicemails and all that. And every day I usually get 40 to 60 emails a day to go through. I can't imagine 14 days. What do you remember how many missed calls or texts or emails you had? Or
I mean, it was a lot.
it was a lot. Okay.
It was in the hundreds.
It was in the
I
hundreds.
wouldn't say missed phone calls.
So it
Nobody
took
calls
a while.
anymore.
Yeah, no.
Nobody calls anymore.
We don't do that.
You're not
DMs.
a realtor.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So, honestly, I've got the three main things before I leave the house. It's phone, wallet, keys, right? If I don't have my phone in my left pocket, which is where it is now, I feel like something's missing in my wardrobe.
Yep.
And if you leave your house with it, I'm all over in Bonner's Ferry doing all sorts of stuff, and I'm that's my lifeline,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. The other side of that is that, I have felt this craving to get another challenge so that I can be away from my phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's funny. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing that I missed, while also I now crave to have another experience where I get to just be away from all of the responsibilities and,
Mhm.
you know, all that.
Oh, another question I had for you. I noticed Bill, sorry, we're going back to the show off and on.
Please do.
Bill was throwing up first day right next to the bed.
Yeah.
Did you ask him not to do that, or did he clean up after himself, or did you just get to smell vomit?
You know,
Or was it not that bad?
this is a testament to how small that area we were in
Okay.
was. It was so
You didn't
tight.
really have anywhere
We
to
had
go?
a hard time filming. In the middle of the night, there wasn't even anywhere safe for me to go to the bathroom. I would have to stand up, and one of the trees that was a support for that bed, I had to like hang onto the tree and like lean out and pee. Like there was just
Okay.
no space up there. So,
There wasn't a designated poop spot?
oh, there's designated poop spots.
Or do you have
but
to like
yeah, I
hike
definitely
away
wasn't
from
doing that in the middle of the
that?
I only went twice the entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, I hear that's common.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
going much.
How did Bill do being so hydrated?
I don't think.
Did you guys ever talk about that? Or yeah, you didn't.
We would talk about stuff like that. We would know when we were going to the bathroom, but like I don't think he did very much either, because you're not eating much, you know. So there's just not much to
Not a whole lot
to
of waste.
come out. He definitely went more than me, but yeah, that's funny. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. He was just puking right by the bed, but that makes sense. You didn't really have anywhere to go.
That was in the beginning too. I want to say, like, I knew that this was going to be an awkward partnership when we were walking up in the within an hour of meeting him.
Okay.
I knew it was gonna, and I was gonna have to kind of try to figure out how to.
What gave you that?
Personality? I just
a gut instinct?
I read energy, you know,
Yeah.
and I just kind of could tell, and so, I think in those first few days, you see me kind of feeling this man out of like, where are his boundaries, and, you know, where do I have to maybe work around it? So I didn't challenge him ever really till we got down to the beach. And that first argument is the one you guys see over the water.
Yeah. Oh, I have another question. What was it like going like 6 days without sleep? Did you start hallucinating at all?
Yes, for sure. It was like the minutes dragged on for hours, but the days were a blur. It was hard. My vision was very, very blurry. I was very dizzy. It was so hot. It was so hot. It was over 100 degrees, very, very humid. I wasn't drinking a lot of water.
Yeah. It was
You
all
know,
gone.
there wasn't much for
That's why you
me.
weren't sweating much.
But having dealt with insomnia in my life, the worst part is those nights where you're like, I'm not going to sleep again tonight. And your mind just, it's torturous is the best way to put it. You just start torturing yourself over it.
Well, why doesn't anybody ever try to sleep during the day?
Well, there's a lot to do in those 12 hours of light, because once the sun's down, you can't get anything done. And so when you think about that, it takes an hour and a half just to get a sip of water, because you have to collect firewood, you have to get the water to go, you have to collect the water, you have to get the water to boil. Then it's 100 degrees out. You got to wait till it cools enough to even be able to take a sip of it.
How long does it take to cool down?
I mean, it took a long time. I mean, it could take an hour.
Okay.
If not more.
Wow.
And so you're constantly collecting firewood just to get those pots of water, especially with how many pots of water Bill required. You know, most challengers, they only go through about 2 pots of water a day. At times, Bill was making 12 pots of water a day. It was, and so when people say, what did Bill do? Bill boiled water all day.
That's what the show definitely showed.
No, it's literally what he did. He boiled water all day long because he was the one who needed so much of it. So I was
But he probably
collecting
didn't
firewood.
need it, though. He convinced himself that he needed that, right?
Just like he said, you know, you're not as dehydrated as me. I'm not sure how he knows in that moment. Yeah, I'm not sure. That was kind of one of the funny things to watch back. I was like, how do you know you're not important?
I think he meant, you're not as important to me in my head. And that's it.
You said
Show
it.
me on the diagram who's more dehydrated.
Well, that's
Oh,
the
wait.
thing, you're getting into percentages. I'm like, how do you know how dehydrated or hydrated you are?
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
It was so silly, you know. But you really have to make the day You have to get the things done during the day. I did spend time in my daydream den, which was in the sand and away from Bill. And I would be in there like 5 hours, and I would try desperately to nap. I don't think I ever
Daydream den? What is that?
Yeah, so there was like this area away from our shelter that was in this like razor grass trees.
Somewhere over here?
No, it was down. So when we moved to
when you
Lower
moved to the
Camp, we were
beach.
here. Yeah, it was right here. So the beach was here, and these are like razor grass trees. And I would go because we were sleeping in the dirt, and it was, I mean, really hard on my body. I had bed sores.
But you did get sleep the first night you guys were there, right?
Yeah, I did. It was so.
But then it was
so
tough
nice to
afterwards.
see that footage back.
Yeah.
That was sweet. That was sweet. Everybody's like, "Oh, look at her sleeping." It's like the time lapse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just go into there just to kind of be alone. And I would try to sleep, but I just never could fully fall asleep. You have a camera person like sitting there with you. So if you're not somebody who sleeps easily.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's just holding the camera in front of you. Yeah.
What if she does something cool?
No, that you're mic'd up and cameras on you 24 hours a day, whether it's a steady, still cam or a camera person working the camera. You are never not mic'd up. I mean, even when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I would always like hold them.
Oh, yeah. Don't listen.
I'm like, please give me some privacy right now.
Do they have you up on any sort of vitals or anything like that? If your vitals are like absolutely failing, is there a medical obviously right there to kind of help you, save you?
Yeah, they do medic checks every single day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
so
kinda
they
figured
they take it very serious. Yeah.
I figured so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
So-
they,
so
did they
how-
say Bill was hydrated enough?
Dude, your metrics are off the chart. You're
good, man.
Oh man, I wish I could speak more on the medic checks with Bill. I'm not going to.
That's confidential information.
They're like, wow, you're clearly more hydrated than your
You're the
partner,
most
Bill.
hydrated.
You are so hydrated. Hint, hint.
On this note, though,
Was he the most hydrated contestant
has
ever
to be, has to be,
on
has
the
to be,
in the history?
has to be with the amount he drank. But I will say, on this note, in the entry scene, when I come in on the boat and I get off the boat, I actually punctured my foot in that moment on a piece of coral. And I had that puncture the entire challenge to the point where it actually didn't heal till 2 weeks after I got home.
Wow.
And so every day we were trying to get that thing to close up. But if you think you're walking barefoot and
So you have like a little Band-Aid on there?
No Band-Aid.
They
You
wouldn't
can't
let
even well, even if you did, it wouldn't stay on. But
Yeah.
no Band-Aid. But I had 6 different iterations of shoes to try to allow it to heal. The best one was just taking a vine and wrapping it around the sole of my foot to try to create some padding. But
Yeah.
I did that all of that like 3-mile hike, all that. I did that all with a foot injury.
I don't think they mentioned that.
No, they don't mention it.
Yeah. There's so much. What else didn't they mention on the show that you'd like to talk about? That you thought was super interesting, but they just didn't have the time to put it in.
That's where I feel so grateful. They really did tell the story, and the waiting for the year to see what my edit was going to bring. And besides little things like I told you guys, little fights that maybe occurred between Bill and I, they showed all of the big stuff. I just really wanted them to show the well, the beehive, me getting all that food. I got 28 fish that last day. 28 fish.
awesome.
They never say how many I got.
Yeah, they didn't. No.
I got 28 fish. I was so proud of that. And then that raft getting us, when they told us we were doing an ocean extraction, I thought they were kidding because I was like, this is a fan challenge.
Yeah.
Make me do the 4 to 6 hour walk in the heat. Like you're going to make me go in the ocean and I have to build a vessel that's going to carry me there. I could not believe it. And so the fact that we were able to pull that off, I was so proud. So no, I there's not much left out besides just little quirky things.
Yeah, because this looks like a mile and a half
It was
away or so. Doesn't
it was further.
It was
I would say I would say
of swimming.
well, I'll tell you, we couldn't see the spot we ended up
The
at.
half Ironman is less. It's only about a mile.
Well, I didn't swim it.
Okay, well,
Nick's trying to get you to do another conversation.
I'm very open. I was thinking maybe like one of those Tough Mudders might be a good fit for me. I've never done that.
yeah, we've done those.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those places might be a good place to meet a man.
Yes, they might be.
So maybe that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
Try that.
Just find one that is, sharing his hydration with others, I think, right? Like giving people hydration they need to survive.
Definitely will look for a man who has his own water.
I can just see you now, like you're on like the rope course. Like, so are you married?
Do you carry a water bottle with you?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. I don't even know what to say half the time. I'm just like, why would someone do that? Like, don't they know it's going to be on television? But
That's a great
What?
question for
Once
every
you're
reality
Yeah.
TV person that's ever gone before.
Your primal self comes out in these challenges, right?
Yeah.
So Nick,
Yeah.
I think he went into like, this is a little too much for
100%.
me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he's
shut
just
down.
mentally just not as mature.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get there someday. He's still got some growing to do. I had other questions, but Jeremy, you got anything?
I'm just rolling with the conversation.
Okay. So, what is it like now? Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask, do you get to see the episode before it comes out, or do you see it when everybody else sees it?
I saw it when everybody else saw it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a little
So-
shocking. Did you watch it like the day,
I
moment it
did.
dropped?
Yeah, I watched the East Coast showing.
Nice.
I
Okay.
watched it at 5 p.m. It took a lot of like figuring that
Did you
out.
watch it with your kids or?
No, I wanted because of the discussion of the divorce, and at the time, my kids, now.
Oh, they still didn't
By
know?
the way, everybody's happy. We're all happier. My ex and I are fine.
How old are your kids?
They're 9 and 11.
Okay.
And so I know what I said, but you just don't know how it's going to be edited. And I knew that it was part of my storyline. And so I wanted to make sure that I watched the episode before they did. It ended up being fine.
So that's how they found out?
No, I came back. That would be awful. No, I came back from the challenge member a year ago. And
I know.
so, yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's
joking.
totally fine. But I watched it with to my friend Teresa, who is the one who said like Naked and Afraid and go do it.
Yeah.
And then my friend Jen and Darren Miller. You probably know who
I know
they are.
Darren.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
of
just
course.
did a deal with him.
Yeah, they're like my best friends.
That's
so.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what now I know you might get on the show again. We can't talk about that,
Yep.
which is fine. What do you have to do to get on the show again? Like, do you already have like a contact, like of like, hey, just so you know, if you ever need somebody, I can always step in.
Yeah.
Like, do you have it, or do you have to reapply?
This is the hard part of doing this, especially if you have a desire to do it again. A lot of people do it and never want to do
Yeah,
it again, right? But, and this is where I say like it's an extreme sport, but it's a very elite extreme sport because you have to wait for somebody to pick you. It's like pick me, I want to
Okay.
go next. That being said, the fans, I think if you're a popular character, you have a lot more chance of being chosen to continue on. And there was an overwhelming response that people wanted to see me on a 21 day. So I feel really confident that I'm going to get the call at some point. Hopefully that's all I can do is sit in confidence, but there is nothing I can do. There is nothing
Okay.
I can do except to sit back.
So you don't
and
have a
just-
producer's
hopefully-
phone number that you can just bug all the time.
I mean, they don't hold any of the cards, the
Yeah.
executive producer and then the network hold the cards on that. And it's a whole thing. Like it is a thing within the community of people who are desperate to get on. There's a gal right now who has an actual petition going within the fans to get on. It means nothing.
Right.
I mean,
Right, sure.
I think
They're
it's
gonna do what
cool
they
that
wanna do.
she's but she is she's smart in doing it because they are watching the fan clubs and there is a huge fan base. There's a huge cult following for this show, huge on Facebook. And so she's smart to kind of be showing them like, remember me, So
Yeah.
I don't think that that's a bad move that she's doing that petition. I think it's actually quite smart,
It's
but
helping with marketing.
I feel like right now I don't really have to do anything because I feel like the fans have really bumped me up to a point where, I'm excited to potentially go and I'm excited to go again and like, what do I do next? Cause I did so much in my fan challenge. So I have to go in, if I go in again, I have to go in with like confidence that I'm going to be able to produce another good episode or a good challenge, hopefully.
Do you get any response or feedback from the actual show or the company of like how your show did or anything? Or do they just like, hey, thanks for coming? And then you get to just like be a part of the, the second base community or whatever it's called. You know what I mean by that? Like, does anybody like stay in touch? Like, hey, your show's doing pretty well. Ratings are up or anything like that. Is there anything like that?
No.
Okay.
There's none of that. I wish I could know what my streaming was because I got so many people in my circle to watch this show that have never watched it before. And so I was like, that's really cool. And it's really cool too, because I've seen a lot of those people that had never watched the show now have joined the fan club. So I as a fan of the show,
Yeah.
I got to go do a fan challenge that now has created more fans. I am very, very happy. Yeah, it's a really good feeling.
Nice. What's the name of your book?
I haven't named it yet.
Okay.
I have a couple different names, but
And it's almost finished, but you might redo it.
no, I'm not going to redo it. I just feel like maybe there's more. I don't think it's done being written.
Okay.
There's more to it that I'm living right now. So, it's, I thought that I felt like I could finish it when I got back from my challenge. And then now there's been some new experiences that I've had since then that I feel are very, very important to share.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got
When I finish it, I will let you know.
All right. Anything you want to pitch before we go?
Just watch my episode, Naked and Afraid, season 18, episode 6, The Beauty and the Bro. There's worse things that I could be called in the franchise. The Beauty, I'll take it.
Oh, you weren't bro?
The bro.
We know who the bro was. And definitely you could stream it on Discovery Plus app. And yeah, just follow me on socials, Jolie.Laroux on Instagram and Jolie Laroux on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out here and being a part of this. And congratulations on your episode. It was a pretty damn good. And I hope everybody actually watches it. And hopefully this helps with the entrepreneurs out there. Just do something hard.
Yeah.
Do the
naked
thing.
and drink water.
Yeah. And take care of your bros. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for checking out the Investor Shed podcast. If you enjoyed your time, make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow along on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at The Investor Shed for shorts and promos about each episode. Do you want to be a guest or know someone who has great real estate investing advice and stories? Reach out to us at theinvestorshed@gmail.com.